Yo guys, Age of Reason here, JC. Just a quick update video about the election. Of course, I'm watching very closely as an American citizen. I do not want Trump back in the White House. I'll tell you that. Uh, but here, so this is the CNN map, and actually, when I wanted to start this video, Trump was like ahead by I don't know, like almost 100 points in the Electoral College. Now it's tightening up a little bit. It's 60 points of difference. The popular vote, I'm sorry, it's really tiny here, but I think like at one point the difference was 5 million. Now it's 4. And yeah, I think it's kind of like these middle states most of the time. It's just, you see, like there's one more that just became red. Um, and this is just like what happens. Like it seems like the middle states are always first, and sometimes I can see like why it makes sense because they're pretty small states and it's not hard to count. It's in the bigger states or in the contested states where it's harder. um but I'm just disappointed by this map, man, and it's pretty much every election is like that, to be fair. um I just don't understand the kind of grievances that people have over there. From what I heard, okay, and this is just like, it changes every minute, really. But from what I heard, the voters this year, they only have kind of two main issues, which already makes me sad. But I'll tell you why in a second. The first one is abortion, and the second one is inflation. So just very few quick words on that, on those two. First of all, the abortion one should be a no-brainer. Harris should win that hands down because the other guy wants to put an abortion ban. And I'm sure you've read many, many stories of women dying because they were either denied an abortion or it was done too late and they died as a result. If Trump goes back into power, this is just gonna, these type of stories, they're not gonna just be like kind of sporadic, but they're gonna be like mainstream, and a lot of people are gonna die. And I'm just thinking, like, if you're a woman and you're voting against abortion, I I really just don't understand what's in your head. What's like the process in your head? Why are you denying? It's not like, okay, hey, we have a choice to have an abortion. So it's not like everybody will just go to the clinic and have abortions for fun. But I think that these people really believe that, like, abortions will just, it's just something people do for fun these days. And I don't know how to convince a person who believes this nonsense. I really don't know what to say. Um, so yeah, I don't understand the women. For the men, well, look, there's a lot of kind of weird ass men out there, and they want to control women's bodies. They want to do that. Um, there's like incels, etc., very kind of vengeful people, etc., etc. But my advice here would be, look, if you're like a woman and let's say you're married to somebody like that, okay, somebody who is like anti-abortion, because you also have to think about your kids. Maybe you are fine and that's cool for you, but maybe your daughter down the line will have some issues. And what if she needs abortion, but now she can't get one because, it's banned or whatever? What are you going to do then? But you see, by that point, it will be already too late for you. And whatever decision you took now is going to have repercussions down the line. And you will only have yourself to blame. There's only one person to blame in that case, and that will be yourself. But unfortunately, it will be too late because somebody, well, your daughter in this case, will be dead. And there's no one else to blame but yourself. and probably your husband, in the case that he also voted against abortions. Okay, that's just very simple. Now, on inflation, I've seen kind of a lot of videos. I've seen a lot of kind of debates going on, like focus groups, etc. The one thing I get from those, this is kind of a repeating theme, is that I would say maybe like 30 to 40% of these kind of undecided voters, I don't know why. Again, because I'm not, like, I don't understand the American psyche, so, but for some reason, and maybe people can explain to me why later in the chat or whatever in the comments, they can explain to me why some Americans believe that America, so the USA, is equal to the entire world. It's like this thing, right, from the 90s or whatever. We are the world, and by that they mean the USA, really. Um, but you have to understand there's other countries out there, and there is shit happening outside of the country. Now, some people say that the inflation in the States is because of COVID. But I think like we've been out of COVID for a while now. Even in Japan, like even here it was more restrictive, but I think even here it's kind of coming starting to like demask and et cetera, et cetera. Um so yeah, I know why prices went up during that time. I get it because, businesses were shutting down, uh the chains were broken, etc., etc. I get all of that, but I think like for the most part it's kind of restarted. So, but in Europe though, if you look at Europe, and again, that's why I'm saying the USA is not equal to the world. You have to look at other countries. And in Europe, the main inflation was because of the war in Ukraine. As soon as Russia started to turn off that cheap gas and oil that used to flow into Europe, um, the inflation just kind of skyrocketed. Yeah, and COVID as well was there at the same time, sure, but it was really because of the war and because Russia turned off cheap resources flowing into Europe that inflation went up. And guess what? It has a domino effect. If inflation goes up in Europe, it will go up in the States as well. Okay? So, yes, what happens in the world will affect America. So, these type of issues though, we have to find a solution to. And Gaza as well to a certain extent. But Gaza is more, I would say, yeah, sure, America is helping it, unfortunately, I would say, because it's genocide going on. Absolutely. But I think like for Ukraine though, there's just many more players involved. Pretty much like whole NATO is helping with money, equipment, etc. Gaza is really not the same. Yeah, America is helping, sure, probably like Britain and I think Italy. Those are the main three from the last time I checked. But really, that's not kind of a NATO issue, whereas Ukraine is. And so a lot of kind of the resources of Europe go into Ukraine, and that also brings up a lot of costs. Okay, and that boosts up inflation. So yeah, those two I will say. I think just Americans are very confused about how things work, and that's probably like a lack of education. I would say lack of information. uh I've seen like some people who are saying, I'm gonna vote for a third party because Jill Stein can stop the genocide, but she can't because she will not win. Look, guys, that's what I've been saying for a while. When end of like this election cycle, well, in a few days, it's either Trump who's going to be president or Kamala. Okay, there is no other person who's going to be president. So you are actually throwing away your vote. You are voting for people who cannot win. Some people are not even on the ballot. Like some people mentioned Cornel West. I'm going to vote for Cornel West. He's not even on the ballot in a lot of places, or even at all. I don't know if he's on the ballot at all. So why would you vote for a person who cannot win? Like, seriously, I just don't get it. I'm not saying that Kamala is great. I'm not. But I'm saying that at the end of the day, it's going to be either her or Trump who's going to be president, okay? Unfortunately, it's a binary choice. You're going to have to live with one of them. And if you really hate Trump, if you really hate everything that he stands for, then your only viable option was to vote for Kamala. And maybe you blew your vote now. Maybe it's too late already. Probably it's too late because most people have voted. But I just don't understand this, voting for third parties when in America we just don't have like a viable representation of third parties. It's not Europe. Just it's not Europe. I think like a lot of some Americans probably fantasize that we have a system like in Europe where there's like I don't know 20 different parties or whatever, and they have to form coalitions to get shit done. But this is not the USA. We're like so far away from that. So I just don't see it. Now finally I mentioned there was one issue, right? Where apparently it's not so important for voters. And I know it's not because I've seen a poll a while ago where it pretty much was near the bottom of the issues, and that's climate change. Look, guys, I don't know what to say anymore because I've been kind of harping on about climate change for years. On my show, I used to have pretty much I dedicated shows to talking about climate change issues. I've developed my own course, which is completely free on YouTube, and you can go check it out. I've spent so much time and energy on the issue, but it just doesn't land. People just don't care. But I don't understand why they don't care though, because a lot of the issues that they're worried about, for example, healthcare and say national safety, etc., etc. All of those issues, food safety, water safety, all of those issues are actually directly impacted by climate change. If we don't do anything about climate change, everything will go to the shitter. Your healthcare will go down. More people will die. It's not just extreme events, but it will be harder to grow food. It will be harder to get water. Even those kind of basic things we need to survive. Um, Look, guys. I mean, even in the past 20 years, there were already many stories that some places just go dry, and there's like the reservoirs are almost empty, etc., etc. California, I think, a few years ago had a big crisis with water. So it's not like a distant issue. It's happening right now in front of our eyes. And all the issues that you're worried about, because you see, if climate change, and it's not even an if, it's just when it's going to damage coastal cities, the government has to spend a lot of money trying to like relocate people or trying to maybe raise the streets, which is fairly pointless in my opinion. But okay, in Florida they did that. I don't think it's going to do anything. It's just a major waste of money and like a cement production, which also adds to emissions, which I don't know. I just I don't see the benefit of that. It's a very short term fix. It maybe it will buy you like 5 years or something, but after that you're kind of back to square one. Except that it's worse because you already spent a lot of money trying to fix a problem that you didn't fix. You see, so yeah, so at the end of the day, it's going to be the taxpayers who are going to have to pay a lot of money for all of that. And that means that there's less money for education, pretty much for everything else education, healthcare, whatever, food production, etc., infrastructure, uh, and so on. So I wish that people took it more seriously, but unfortunately, I just don't think they connect the dots. And it's easy to blame the people. And yeah, people should be held accountable for what they know and what they don't know. But we also need to blame the media because they're absolutely not doing their work. um Look, guys, I mean, how many stories seriously have you seen on like CNN or whatever, that they talk about the main events, okay? They talk about, oh, this hurricane is coming, and but they don't really say why it's happening, or the roots of climate change, how climate change makes it worse. They don't talk about any of that. Maybe because they know that it's not going to get clicks, okay? And so that's why, in my case, because I am not tied to anybody, I'm completely independent. So in my case, I don't care about the clicks. I just care about the story and getting the truth out there. And that's why I was trying my best to, make episodes about it. I made my course about it. I knew that, you know, probably very few were gonna watch it. I also have it on audio version, by the way. And some people, to be fair, did purchase the course, thanks to them. But I know that overall, it's not like it's not like making a some kind of makeup video or some kind of prank video, which are fake, by the way. All of them are staged. I know it's not gonna get millions and millions of views. I know that, and I still did it because I care about the truth and I care about the message and I care about the science, and I think it's important to get it out there. So, yeah, guys. But anyway, so I think from what I see here, it's moved a little bit. So let me just see, because here it's very small, but I can get it a bit bigger. Right now it's Trump 230, and Harris is at 182. It's still about four and a half, about yeah, about 4.5 million votes in difference in the popular vote. House, yeah, there's also like the other races we have to keep an eye on. So like the Senate and the House, but you see the Republicans are 49. Well, anyway, the Senate is usually like split. Okay, the House is, I don't know, probably gonna stay Republican, but yeah, I'm just, I don't know. It's just sad that many people are kind of confused, and like I mentioned on the abortion, it's just sad that people think the way they do. But I've had this kind of discussion recently on the Facebook page, and yeah, it's when it comes to abortion, in the comments, right? It was like 99.9% men. And these men, like I said, they just want to keep controlling women's bodies. They think they know better than women. So they think they have the like the kind of privilege or whatever to be favored over what a woman thinks. And that, to me, is a massive massive red flag. Like, if you're seriously, if you're a guy that like that, who thinks like you can control women and you should control everything about them, that women belong in the kitchen, bro, you 100% deserve to stay single, and no woman should ever come close to you. That's just fact. So yeah, let's see how it goes. But that's kind of my report so far. At the time I'm doing this video in New York right now, it's midnight, pretty much, just a little bit past midnight. So yeah, let's see how it goes. But I just wanted to do a kind of report until there are more votes counted. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye bye.